I'm just thinking, Mike.
Long pause.
It was a long pause. Well, I just didn't know. I don't want to go down rabbit holes. I don't want to drag this out. But there was. I mean, all the knowledge you had coming from another industry and all that. There's still things we can improve when we onboard and how we can approach our pipeline. And so that, I think what we're going to get the takeaway of this time here this morning, this half hour, is simply this. It doesn't matter if you've been here, 2 months or 20 years. Take the information you're hearing and implement it now. So you don't have to start over. You can take the best practices you've heard and start re-implementing those into your pipeline management, especially as we start looking at 2018. So that's kind of my modus operandi here. So thank you, Mike. I appreciate that very much. Chelsea Kimbrough, are you on the line this morning? Chelsea? I was going to sing. You're saving yourself here. She's not here. She's hopefully gonna call in, but it didn't work out this morning. So she's on PTO and birthday and some time off. So we're gonna have to give her crap later.
I've got one quick thing for Chelsea since I just spent most of the week with her. How long has she been with us, Doug? Do you remember?
She started July 1st, I think.
Right around there.
Mm-hmm.
She's already gone on 10 trips to go out and do either trade shows or visit customers. So she's been hitting the road pretty well.
That's good.
I think it's helping her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's got a nice big win. We're going to see that this month, but it's really Kenny's win, but
we'll talk about that next.
Absolutely. So we're going to go over to Seattle. Good morning, Ellie.
Good morning.
How are you?
So I thought all of those were really great points. I wrote them all down since I'm still really new. I'm about 3.5 months now, almost 4. But I really liked the Maria's point about creating a report for WOW customers. That's something that I really need to do. The installation reports help me a lot. I've been able to reach out to a lot of customers that are coming up on renewals in the next couple of years. But I think what I'd like to get more of is the ride-alongs and having you guys come out with me on customer meetings and maybe shadowing Kelly on an installation. And then I really like Maria's point also on meeting with existing customers. So, I think all of these I could definitely implement. And then the training that we have coming up, for everyone who doesn't know, Amanda and I are going to go out to Zybex in the next couple weeks and do a 2-day training. So I think that'll help a ton too, learning the product more and getting that implemented.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And remember, I know you just used that word, you weren't really thinking the word you said you could implement, but woulda, coulda, shoulda. Let's make sure we try to implement as much of this as possible. So, and that goes for everybody, like I said earlier. So yeah, I know you didn't mean it that way, but it just brought to mind. Let's make sure we're not just listening, but we're actually doing and implementing. So thank you, Ellie. I'm looking forward to the additional training here in a month. Elizabeth Brand. Good morning, Elizabeth, in Folsom, California. Are you available? I know you got to run it down to school here in a sec.
Oh no, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
So. Good morning. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you.
Helpful?
It's a pleasure meeting everyone officially. I mean, not being able to see everyone, but just listening to all the veterans and the do's and the don'ts, taking it all in. One of the things that I'm really sad that I can't do is spend individual one-on-ones with all of you. You've all brought something different to the table, and you're all your own rock star. And I've heard it from the team, Doug. I've seen your WELL projects, so I'm bummed I can't have that one-on-one, but do feel free to reach out. I love watching the team chats go back and forth. Those are all really insightful. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that, Doug and Mike have done very well since I've jumped on board is making sure that I have a plethora of resources, and I'm seeing every angle of the sale from the get-go to installation. So I'm very fortunate for that.
Absolutely. And Elizabeth, is this your first all-team sales meeting? I think it is, right?
Yeah, it is.
And I told you to be ready for being on camera. Did I tell you that?
Yeah. The has
That
me
was a
so
great
excited
answer.
about it.
Right before that.
There's tone right there.
Go ahead and turn your camera on, say hi, and what I want you to do is just introduce yourself to everybody too, and we're gonna go to Brian. So hang tight with me.
Hi guys.
But, turn your camera on, and I would love for you just to give a short background of a little bit of who you are, and just kind of, you've already shared a little bit, which I appreciate, but just kind of introduce yourself to the team.
Can everyone see me?
Not yet.
Okay, what am I doing wrong?
You have to click on where it says screen, and then share your screen.
That's going to share whatever you're looking at right now.
Yeah, it should be webcam. I mean, I can see myself, but
Really?
Oh, webcam. Yeah.
that's weird.
Go to attendees.
Hold on.
There you are. Hey, there you are.
So I come from technical and software sales, and I started off sales, you know, just like everyone else, figuring it out as I went along, being thrown into the rather crazy projects. Luckily, I've been mentored by some amazing salespeople. And then jumping on board with Zybex has been a pleasure. I've heard all about each and every one of you and what you bring to the table, so I am very excited to be part of this team. I heard that there's not a lot of turnover and you really don't like hiring and firing, so let's make sure that doesn't happen here.
Exactly. Well, good. We're thrilled to have you on the team in the medical group, and I think everybody knows that she works with Mike, and you'll be taking California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and then basically the rest of Glenn's territory for medical. So that's Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, right?
Yep, just a really small territory.
Yeah, that's all. That's all. So we're excited to start building out those teams, Mike's team, Gail's team. We're excited to have you on board, Elizabeth. Thank you. Thanks for going on the camera. We appreciate it.
We're going to get you a Rascal scooter in Chicago.
Oh, yeah, okay, so bad news there. Doctor won't clear me to fly after Thanksgiving. So tell Kathleen she's off baby duty.
God dang it. They changed the flight date. So you're due, when's your due date for your baby?
Christmas.
So
Cool.
the big RSNA show right after Thanksgiving we had planned, let the team know we had planned on her coming, and then she just got an updated note from the doctor saying not going to happen.
Kathleen had read up on all the baby delivery stuff with our ski patrol manual, and she was ready.
I was going to bring a kid.
You guys are such jerks. You know I didn't want to deliver a baby at RSNA. I was just going to find some hot doctor to do it for me.
All right.
All right. Thank you for letting me know, Liz.
Sorry, guys.
Brian, bring some sanity to our conversation.
God.
Brian, can you share with us? I know you're working this morning. Are you able to share? Do you need to text in?
Good morning. How are you guys?
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Good morning. Hey, how are you?
Good, good.
Doing well.
So same
My
question.
phone's cutting in and out, so hopefully you got some.
Yeah, we can hear you just fine. So what would you have done different the first 4 months learning and kind of onboarding with the company?
Sure. One of them would have been to take a look at existing projects, especially the ones that are 5, 7, 10 plus years old, where they have options and features that either we don't offer, or because they'll call or email with some very specific customer service questions that now luckily we can forward over to customer service. But getting out in the field to take a look at those old installs as well as the designs are great. In addition to taking a look at our price book, knowing what you have to offer as a company, as a design solution, is key, especially if you have pictures of them that you can quickly whip out on your laptop or your iPad and be able to show, hey, is this what you're thinking? Would this address the issue or concern that you have? So that you can bring those options to them right then and there. And then the second thing is done a better job of going through Salesforce to take a look at the two previous sales folks that were in there and kind of cleaning the clutter up or unclutter the clutter. But yeah, those would have been my two things. And I think Glenn said it best, making sure that a lot of it is proactive rather than reactive. You know, there's a lot of measures that come in initially, but there's, you know, going to be parts of the year that slow down. So being proactive and having a game plan for those times when it's slow, so that you can continue to build your pipeline.
Plan your work and what?
Work your plan.
That's right. Plan your work and work your plan. Brian, thank you. And I got to tell the team, Brian's really good at, you've been very, very good at not just, I mean, going and seeing customers and the customer service, servicing desks yourself, putting in the panels. I mean, you've been really, really hands-on with a lot of customers. And just so everybody knows, Brian's an independent contractor, our last one, but he works had 2 available days a week to do that. So he's basically working on a 40% of his week, of his time. So that said, you kicked ass. I mean, just the whole going and seeing customers has been very, very, very good in how you manage them once you're working with them. So a lot to be said there about going into the field and meeting with customers and being proactive about it. So thank you for that, Brian. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So for kind of wrapping this up, I want to move on and start hitting the gas here. We're going to fly through the rest of this pretty quickly, but what I want us to take away from this too is I want everybody to really just, and if you need to write this down or embed this in your brain, take ownership. I want you to take ownership of your training and of your expertise. What I don't want us to do is say, well, I don't get enough from Doug, or I don't get enough from Kenny or Kelly, or I know that our training is more of an onboarding and an orientation than it is a training. It's just not enough to saturate somebody, and you just keep learning, as we said earlier. So really, I need everybody to take ownership. And there's a lot of really good best practices we shared in the last 40 minutes. So let's absorb that and really take ownership in that one. So thanks for doing that. I'm not going to go through insights and bullet point 2, sharing the biggest win you had last month and what you learned from a loss that you had. We can pull that into next month. But I think we had some good value so far. I want to get into the last quarter, get into the Q4 goals and kind of where we're headed. And I need the whole team to kind of be on the same page and kind of see where we're going. So let me minimize. So here's where, let's go to your dashboard. So as a team, this is what you see when you open up your dashboard. Looks like somebody's already refreshed it, so you guys have been updating and refreshing. So you guys have done this month so far, I mean, not bad as far as getting new opportunities. We really need you to always stay prospecting, obviously. So working through those KPIs. Last quarter was not bad. It was a weaker quarter than what we wanted. And I sent out those KPIs in that email blast to everybody. So keep finding the new opportunities. I know with the shows, those are going to go up, but we can't let that slip because that's the beginning of our pipeline. With that, the more inbound leads we get, the better. And I really absolutely need you to take the time to write a short blog. You don't have to write a white paper, something really long, a dissertation, a thesis. I just want a short blog that is based on what customers are asking you, questions you're hearing from customers. And maybe you can write it on the top 2 questions you're hearing from customers. And if each of you does that, there might be some overlap, but that's okay. We're going to get a lot of really good questions, and this is going to be something that's really pertinent to what the industry is asking in our shows. So top 2 questions that they're asking, or things that they're bringing to our attention. So let's get those in. That's going to help the leads and get those new opportunities. So not a bad.
Hey, Doug, can I?
Not a bad month. Yeah.
Doug, this is Kathleen. I just wanted to also piggyback on that and kind of correlate what you guys were talking about earlier. In that this last week when I was with Maria, she did a presentation last year on health in the dispatch center and kind of did another presentation on it again this year. And to see the difference between the content between last year and this year and how she could really tie in her experiences. So she had been to comm centers and she had talked to some comm center managers and directors and really heard what they were trying to say, and she was able to use that experience firsthand in her presentation. That's the kind of stuff we're looking for in the blogs. I mean, you guys are going to these comm centers, you're talking to these managers. That's the type of stuff that really relates to other people, and that's what's going to help these blogs be successful. So you guys have that knowledge, we just got to get it down on some blog paper.
Blog paper?
Yeah.
I agree. I've never heard of that. That's good. So we'll get some blog paper. Make sure you guys get those in those. It's so easy to get busy that we just deprioritize that when we can't do that. We need to make sure that we're on top of this. So, like I said, the quarter was a little weaker. Third quarter is usually like that, a little soft. Fourth quarter is usually stronger. October, November, December is usually stronger. Looking at what we've got so far this month and where we are on sales, obviously there's that big bar. Kenny's going to talk about that in just 10 seconds here. But I need to make sure everybody, our goal is to hit at about 100, 150,000 per month. That's your goal. And a lot of the team has just not performed this month. If we took away this $1 million, now a lot of this is actually $1 million is Kenny's, but Chelsea's done a good job of closing Colorado State Patrol and some others. So this isn't all Kenny's work. She did a good job.
That's going up too.
Yeah. So, but we still need to make sure that everybody on the team is on board hitting your goals. And I know I talked to each of you last week, but I need to see what we can do for the rest of October. October's a little weak. If I take that bar away, October's a little weak. So we need to finish this year strong, and I need to focus on that. Kenny, do you want to talk about City of Calgary?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So I'll just run through the quick timeline of everything. So about this time last year, Kathleen and I had a work honeymoon up in Banff because I joke about that because it's so beautiful up there. And everything was really nice. But it was just good timing. Calgary does not travel very often to the big APCO show in Canada. Well, it's not that big, but it was only a 2-hour drive away. So they sent a bunch of people up, and they got really excited about what we were showing there. And then I did some sales work after that, but they just palmed my face and told me, hey, they're going to go out to bid. I can't talk to them. So luckily, they went out to bid, and we didn't know about it, and they figured out we weren't involved, so they called us and hunted me down, which worked out fine, and we got into it, and we made it to round 2. I was gone when Barry and Doug put together the RFP package, and they did a fabulous job, and so we made it to round 2, and we had to take furniture up. So I went up there with Barry, Kelly, and Chelsea. The 4 of us went up to do a presentation, and took the station up there, got it set up, and we had a killer presentation. Went really well. They gave us enough time to talk about it. We had 3 hours. We had a 3-hour presentation with 2 10-minute breaks or 15-minute breaks. So that was really nice, especially after the short shit show we had in Durham. We had about 20 minutes to talk about it. So anyway, that went really well, and we ended up winning the job, and we're adding to that amount that you saw on there. And for some reason, Doug decided to torture me and let Chelsea close it under her name. But so we just went up. I just got back yesterday. I was up there again with Kelly, Emily, and Chelsea, and we got to sit down with them. And for me, it's a little nerve-wracking because they're big. It's a big city. They've got their shit together. They want to do all kinds of meetings. I think that's all they do in Calgary's meetings, but we did really well. I can't say enough good things about the whole team here at Zybex. And of course, Kelly's super. He just does such a great job with them. Emily just knocked it out of the park. She went up prepared. We couldn't get connected to online down here because there are firewalls, and we were trying all kinds of stuff, but she broke out a D-size sheet of paper with their room, and she had already cut out 2-scale stations for them, and we started just moving it around on paper, and that just went really well. Chelsea did a great job also. My main thing with Chelsea is to keep learning, and I told her just stick next to Kelly while he's measuring the room and ask him why, just keep bugging him. So she learned a little bit more about soffits. It was good. They had some soffits sticking out. They had different columns. They had baseboard heat. All those things affect us, and that's something I'm taking notes on, some more stuff. I'm going to come up with some hacks for measuring rooms. I got to talk to Kelly about that, so he gave me some tips that I even learned from. I was walking around asking Kelly why on some stuff. So, man, I can't say enough good things about our team. We did really well, and this started years ago when we finally got our shit together and we got Karen and Janine in here, and we have much better customer service. One of the reasons we beat Evans is because their customer service is horrible, even in their home province. And so it's amazing how a win for a project like this can start 3 or 4 years in the past with us doing a good job for we ended up winning a 3-station job up there, and she went and hunted down, she's friends with the guy that runs Calgary, and she hunted him down and highly recommended us and told him the story about how bad Evans is. So it really, I don't know. I was just so proud of the team. Everyone did a great job. And it took a lot of effort from everybody here. You know, we built up the station that was beautiful. It was our new Eagle line we took up there. And they had all the dispatchers come through and vote on the 3 companies that were there, and we were overwhelmingly the winner. And they were surprised at that. They thought it'd be closer to, you know, 2 companies being really close and 1 being left behind, but we just smacked them both down and just clearly won this project. So now we have to deliver, but we're gonna have a beautiful setup up there. It's a more modern station. It's what I've been talking about. They're gonna have 1 keyboard and 1 mouse. They're gonna go to form factor computers. So we're gonna have a tech tower with the computers in the top and the ped in the bottom. And this is what I've been kind of talking with some of you about. I see the future going. So it's really interesting. If they can get down to 1 keyboard and 1 mouse with the 72 by 72 station, they actually have more work surface space than they do on their current Bramic, which are 90 by 90. But they've got 3 or 4 keyboards and 3 or 4 mice, so they don't have any room. Yeah. So you can go with the smaller station. They were hoping to get 75 stations in there, and Emily got 85. And right now, I think they're going to buy 85, and our quote was originally for 72. And I think they're going to buy the other mock-up that's up there, and they're going to do other crazy shit. But I think it's going to be in about 1.2, 1.3 million US.
Yeah. Pretty impressive. And I got to give Kenny kudos too. I mean, the guy who was running it, Kevin, gave basically a spreadsheet saying you're going to talk about this item for 15 minutes, this item for 5 minutes, this item for 20. You know, and it's easy to listen to that stuff and say, I'm just going to do my presentation. But Kenny was awesome. He practiced the intro, he practiced the exit, he worked on it. He said, let's talk about what you need here. So I heard it was fantastic. And he basically said the people who are high D like me, super organized, like we need those presentations to meet what we're looking for. So he did that, but yet he's still personable. I was told, Chelsea said you did a mic drop at the end. So it was fantastic. So what it was us in the office here, working with the team in the field, getting better as a cohesive group. So very, very excited. All right, cool. Oh, and I decided to close, we could have closed this under Kenny, but I decided that would take, and I talked to some of you, put this under Chelsea, even though we never let you close something that was predecessor, but this is not a predecessor, it's her territory, and we also want her to take care of that customer afterwards. So she knows that this was not a full commission deal for her, but we are giving her something so that she can service the customer. When it's all done, she can do open houses. So it's a little something for her, but it's not the full deal. But I wanted her to see that, and I wanted you, the team, to see that we celebrate your territory as well. So want to make sure that there's no whispering behind anybody's back that we gave her this $1 million deal for nothing. I mean, we want, and Chelsea knows this, so we want to make sure that, you know, we support each other, but we're not going to go and award you something that a predecessor had been awarded. So don't need to go down that path, but I feel like I just need to address that. Cool. Any comments about that before we move on? Questions?
Doug, can I just make a quick comment?
I hope so.
It's Megan. No, I just wanted, I'm so excited about the Calgary thing, and like, I'm so proud of the team. And I met with Miami-Dade yesterday, and just to reiterate Kenny's whole point of just showing up, Miami-Dade was talking to Watson, and Watson refuses to go on site. So I don't know why, but they keep saying, no, we do everything online, and you know, we want you to send us all of the information, like send us the layout and everything, and you know, putting all the onus on the customer. And the customer even offered to take Watson out to lunch if they would show up. So not only was that project for 23 to 24 stations, but we're also going to be quoting the backup center, which is an additional 41 positions. So it's just to reiterate that we do business in the right way. And I think a lot of people still very much respect that. And, you know, the customer even said to me, he's like, I don't do business that way. Like, I just don't get why they don't want to come on site and face to face with me. So I just think it's the way we do business is the right way. And I'm really, really proud of the team for being available and on site and showing up. So Great job, everybody.
Thank you, Megan.
You know, Megan, I think in your situation, I think that's their dealer, right? So the dealers have multiple lines and they're kind of nervous to go spend a day driving down to Miami-Dade and coming back, et cetera, et cetera. So that might be part of the influence on it, but they are advertising for salespeople on LinkedIn right now. Watson is, so I think they're going to try to emulate our model here in the next couple of years.
Hey,
for their dealers.
I was talking to the local dealer here, and Quint happened to be up at the show that I had this week, and they are going to a direct model. So they're trying to get rid of their dealers.
They're tired of getting their asses kicked by you.
Yep.
So, and that's exactly what Russ Bassett did too. They hired a VP of sales, and they're trying to go direct, and they're going to try to steal you guys first. So just be advised that take that as a compliment. But guys, I'm so proud of you. That's why we focus on our training and expertise. Own what you know, because even if every competitor saturates the market with direct salespeople, you still can't be beat if you do what you're supposed to do. We'll go through the knowledge, the tools, and we'll make sure that you're the best in the business. So that's my goal. That's what I want to do. I love building a smart, sharp team that does not lose. So I'm excited about this. Thank you, Megan. I know several of you could share stories. Gail had one too from Black Hills. We installed that 2 weeks ago, the power plant up in South Dakota, and they begged Evans to show up, and Evans would not show up, and they begged Winstead that they had to show up, and Winstead would not show up. So we showed up and kicked ass and just installed a $150,000 deal. So that's what we do. All right. So that's the quarter. This next quarter, we need to really get on top of things too. So I want us to look at, we've talked a lot about these estimated installations and wrapping things up. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time hammering that horse. You guys have done an absolutely fantabulous job. There were POs and sign-offs coming in today. If you look at this on your screen right there, I highlighted $976,000 of opportunities. Customers say, according to you guys, customers say, I do need this in by the end of the year. And currently we have, I think, scheduled 800,000. I would love to get every penny of this in for December. It's doable.
Recording this.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Chelsea's trying to get online and she's not having luck.
Yeah, so this is all recorded for Chelsea. I'll let her watch the video. Hi, Chelsea. So, I mean, we did, like I just told you earlier, Chelsea closed Colorado State Patrol, $160,000, got the PO already yesterday. So as we go through these, I really need you to update in the project notes. You can see here, and I know, Elizabeth, you're a little bit new, but Mike's got to coach you on this. That last note is September 29th. That's way too old. These should be updated. Once they're done, they should be updated every week. In Heather's words, she said, I bug my customers every couple of days. And that's Pierce County, Ashtabula. We talked about those yesterday on the phone. So update these notes and make sure you're calling them. I've got some information for you here in just a second about purchase orders. I'm going to take you through that. I got a fun video for you. But I want to help empower you so you can be more confident when we talk about getting purchase orders, contracts, what's a requisite, all that stuff. So requisition. So I need all this done. Doesn't matter if you've been here 20 years or if you've been here 2 months. I need it all. I think you guys all know this, and I've talked to most of you, but we need this money for December, and December is less than 5 weeks away, 4 weeks away, 5 weeks away. So we need to get it in. And we really need to be looking at January. January currently has $1 million in estimated install and $1 million set to go out the door. So we could finish the year in December super strong, and the Carsons will stand on their heads and applaud, and it's going to be awesome, and that makes it easier for me to award everybody, because award trips when you're not making money is no fun. So let's kick the year really strong last year in December, and then come into January like a lion and close out all these opportunities and get these things wrapped up. And there's just not enough, guys. We need to be 8 to 12 weeks ahead getting these wrapped up. So in the midst of all your busyness, I know there's a lot to do, but that's why you guys get the base plus the commissions to get this shit done, and I know you can do it. So I don't want to beat that horse anymore, but I need it done. So let's get it done. Last thing, when you're doing stuff, put it in Salesforce. Mr. Glenn and I already talked about this. He's off the call seeing a customer right now, but when you call a customer, it's got to be updated in Salesforce. In Dave Carson's words, if it's not in Salesforce, it never happened. That's the truth. Even if you write it in your notebook like I do, you got to update that at night when you get to your hotel or your home office. You've got to put stuff into Salesforce. If you don't, that could negatively impact your employment here. And I'll just leave that on the table. Don't do that. All right. Make sure you're putting everything that all the communication. Because let's look at it this way. I'm renting you. I'm renting your time. Zybex is, you represent Zybex. We're paying you a salary to go out there. So you represent us, and if you take company information on my time and you keep it in your personal information, but you don't put it in the company software, then you're not sharing with the company what I paid you to do. So at a very base level, it's just unethical to not put it in Salesforce. You've got to get that done. So, and the same thing just goes with the shows. Practice poise, professionalism, ethics. You represent Zybex every second, whether you're on the show floor in front of your booth, or if you're taking customers to dinner. You guys already know this, but this is for the new people. Don't get drunk. That's not what we pay you for. If you want to buy around with some customers, that's fine, but if you can't handle your alcohol, then you need to have a conversation with me and we'll figure out something. But nobody in this team should be partying with our customers. You should make sure you're always on top of it, poised, professional, and managing it well. Okay? So Dad's spoken, and I'm off the dad pedestal right now. So let's move forward.
I'm going to get on the dad pedestal.
Okay.
Ladies, I do not want to worry about you, and I do when you guys are on the road, and I kind of know what's going on. I've got spies everywhere. Not that I'm keeping track of you, but
You kind of are.
I am, but I do. I like all you guys. You're all great friends as far as I'm concerned. So, I know you're out at shows. I know you're doing stuff, and so I always like to see your Facebook that you're alive the next morning and everything's going on. And, so I get a little nervous about that when you guys are out on the road. So always make the right decision and make good judgment. That's what we're paying you for. So, and I think you guys have hung out with me. I like to have a great dinner and have some drinks and all that, but I don't go full throttle when I'm out on the road because it'll just lead to problems and for whatever reason. But yeah, so I do. I worry about you in my heart. I worry about you guys. Sometimes you guys are out on the road. I like to keep an eye on you. So
that's why we're okay with room service. Sometimes if you're at a hotel bar and it's creepy, or the guys are, if you guys need to use that to get to your room and eat alone, we totally get that. But Kenny's right. Just remember, one and done, or okay, two, and I'm through, right? So, and then just tell the bartender, look, these people are still drinking. Cut me off. I'm not taking any more. Just make it look like there's alcohol in my drink, but I don't want to drink anymore. Or just tell them I don't want to drink anymore.
just stay away from priority dispatch guys and Rod Coleman.
Exactly. All right.
Rod will just smack you on the ass. It's fine.
That's all.
Sorry, Kathleen.
Geez, with President Trump, you would think that, but oh well, it is what it is. All right, that's a whole other training.
Kathleen, I will buy you a drink though, because Tuscaloosa's installing in January, so I owe you one.
We worked as a team, Megan. We worked as a team.
True story. Keep the creepers at bay.
Get them to install in December for December numbers and commissions. We would love. I'll let them smack me on the ass. How's that?
Oh, God.
I'm just kidding. That was a joke. And I
Make good judgment, Doug. Make good judgment.
Exactly. I'm kidding. All right. Maybe not. Maybe it's not worth it. Okay. So let's go through this real fast. A real quick training. I got a video for you that I want you to watch. I hope that you can hear this video, the audio. So we're going to try this. And let me know if it comes through. I might mute this phone so it can come through and doesn't go through the speaker both ways. So let's see if you can hear this. I'm going to start it and I'm going to stop it. Could you guys hear the video?
We started to, and then when you muted the phone, it went away.
Okay, so you're hearing it through my microphone. That's cool. So we're going to watch about the first, 40 seconds of this. This is an animation on how purchasing and purchasing departments that our customers have, how they operate. And then I'm going to show you some purchase orders that we have, some requisitions. So when you're talking for a PO, you kind of know what they're thinking. And some of your customers need to be coached. This will help you just a little bit. So here it is. hate the music, by the way. Okay, that was the cheesiest thing you've ever heard, but it all tries to get to this one point. So what we have to do when we talk to customers, we ask them for a purchase order. Sometimes they have to get a requisition to get a purchase order. So you have to think from their side of the desk. If they're a department or an organization, they have to go to their purchasing department, whoever pays the bills, and they have to request, that's what requisition is, request a purchase order. So that means internally it's been approved for them to buy something. That's what the order to purchase is, a purchase order. So you can see in the document here, there's a request, purchase requisition, then there's the actual purchase order that's released internally. They send that to us, and then Lynn will get the purchase order, and she will, when it's all installed, when everything's done, she'll send an invoice, and that invoice has to match the purchase order amount. So they'll receive our invoice, the customer will, and they'll match that with the PO, and they'll make sure that it matches the sign-off, the punch list that Kelly left them on this goods received note. There's a sign-off, so that everything matches. Did it come in? Is it complete? Does their invoice match their purchase order? How does it all line up? And then we get paid from that. So I'm getting out of that just to let you know that's a super high-level view of what it's like. Here's a document that just for you to, this is your customer, Megan, to kind of see what it's like. We had this customer, and bless her heart, she just didn't know how to do an order. She told Megan, I've got a PO. It's been signed by the sheriff, and this is what she was thinking. This is actually a purchase request, which is not a purchase order. It's a request for a purchase order. So when she faxed this to me, or emailed this to me, I looked at the amount. It was for the deposit only, half the amount, signed by the sheriff. And down below, it says purchase request authorization. And right at the very bottom, there's a blank that said, this is the purchase order number assigned for the purchase, which means it doesn't have a PO yet. This is just a requisition. So I talked to this lady. I'm like, is it possible there's somebody who needs to fill that out? Do you know who that person is? She's so sweet. She's like, oh, I could send this over to the person who actually sends the purchase orders out. I'm like, that would be wonderful. So when I did that, she went to that person almost in the same day spit out this purchase order, and then they sent this to us. So this was a purchase order. It shows the same thing. It actually has the purchase order number up here, which is the number we were looking for. And that lines up at the bottom, and our invoice is going to match that. And notice that they have our terms, a 50% deposit with 40% at installation, and then final 10% can be held for the punch list, which means if we have to fix some scratches or dents or anything, just like buying a new house, the punch list. So if we need to do that, they can retain the last 10% and then pay after that. So that's an example of a purchase requisition and 2 purchase orders. Here's another one. I want to show you one from Motorola. This one we just got in today. So this is for Gail's Opportunity for a transit authority. So interesting thing about Motorola's purchase order, it lines up. You can see right here it says payment terms net 75. That does not match our quote. Our quote are net 30. I need someone to tell the team, what does net 30 mean? Somebody on the line, what does net 30 mean?
That it's due within 30 days.
Thank you. I'll make sure you're not sleeping. Right, so from the time they get the invoice, that bill is due. They got to pay us in 30 days. So Motorola said, sorry, we don't abide by your quotes, we have our own payment terms. We'll pay you in 75 days. And we understand that at Zybex, we know Motorola is a little bit of a beast like this. So basically, they're getting paid by the customer net 30, and then they're going to pay out net 75. So they're sitting on the customer's money for about a month and a half. Down below, just so you can see this, here's the quote. It's a Zybex quote numbers right here. This is kind of the summary of what it's all about. Nobody on earth is going to read these terms and conditions. Can you see that? Holy moly.
That's done on purpose, too.
It is done on purpose. That is 2.5 pages of terms.
So what I do when I get this is I drop it off on Doug's desk. What I can do sometimes with these is if they're a PDF, or I'll make sure I'll get them into a PDF, and I'll do word search for specific words in there, because that's tough to read. It's so damn small.
Right.
Or I'll have to
What words do you look for, though, Kenny?
Well, this one's kind of easy because I got my payment terms up there, so I'm obviously looking for that. I'm also looking for liquidated damages. I'm looking for, like here it says confidential information. I look for any insurance requirements. Usually that stuff's part of the bid, but like through Motorola, they're probably going to want us to provide show them that we do have insurance. I also look for, well, there's this license grant. I look for, sometimes they want us to have a license for doing construction work, which we usually don't need. Well, hardly ever do we need that. So I just want to make sure we're all clear on that. And then I try to read through if things go bad, what happens. So I look for termination specifically. So usually on a bid or a contract like this, if we decide we don't like each other for whatever reason, they have to give us in writing, 15 days in advance or 10 days or whatever it is. Or we can tell them we don't like them and we're not going to do this anymore, but we have to give that to them in writing. So we don't usually get to that, but I kind of want to have an idea what it's going to be. I'd also like with Motorola, I'd like to know if it goes sideways, if we're going to have to take them to court. Do we go to court with them to get paid? Because they're way over their net 75. They don't pay in 75. They pay more like a 90 anyway, but they start looking at it in 75 days and thinking about it, and then, they mess us around. So those are the things I'm looking for, just pretty typical stuff. And that's the same stuff I look for on an RFP or a contract with somebody. And then obviously on these, I make sure, Lynn does this usually, but when they come across my desk as a contract, I make sure our final quote is the exact same amount as the purchase order. And it's still amazing how often it's not. And then we got to go figure out what's going on and what's wrong and all this and that. So I usually hunt down you guys or hunt down the designer and we start figuring out what's going on. But
strangely enough.
Yeah, just one note on that, Kenny, for Motorola. They said there would be 2 purchase orders, one for the product and then one for freight and installation, delivery and installation. Yep. So.
And I was just going to say that because this does not match the total on the opportunity. So.
Hey, Doug. There's also sometimes, like with Kaiser, they won't include shipping on their PO, but they will pay it once they're invoiced for it. And I don't know if it's a Kaiser thing or what, but that's something to be aware of.
Some utility companies do that too. Yeah.
And one other thing was that when sometimes if you look at terms and conditions about construction, like at UCLA, if we anchor into a wall for the panels or the panel frames to secure them rather than put that little L leg on it, that's considered construction, and that opens up a whole can of worms. So just something to think about when working with the designers and each individual location. If they require their own folks to come in and do construction to, literally screw in 2 screws into the wall, just another can of worms to worry about.
Good to know.
That, and especially in your territory, seismic, that kind of changes our scope from just putting furniture in, assembly/installation to actual construction.
Right, and then you need different insurance, I believe, as well, right?
Yes. Our insurance is good with all that, but we're running the opposite problem. We've got a bid out there in Maria's territory, and they want us to get a contractor's license in the state of Virginia, just to put furniture in. We're not bolting it to anything, not to the wall, not to the floor. And so I called the contracting license office, and they're like, no, we don't even have a category for you. You can't do it. Right. So that pops up every now and then. The difference between us and general construction and needing a contractor's license is the furniture can be removed from the building. It's a huge difference. They can also, oh shit, I can't think of it. Anyway, so that's the big difference there. So hardly ever do we run that problem where we need to get a contractor's license. Yeah.
What if you do seismic anchoring?
Yes, then we probably need something, but those are bolted in and you could unbolt them. So I'm not 100% sure. I'm trying to think what we had to do in San Francisco, because we seismic that whole thing. I'll have to go back and look. Most projects, they don't give a shit. They just push it through. But if we're going through a general contractor or if it's a bid, then we have to pay more attention to it. But if they're just buying Zydex again or whatever, they just do the job. Right.
Yeah, anything in California, like for example, Brian mentioned UCLA, they'll get a project manager, then the project manager has to get together with OSHPD. OSHPD is their seismic authority within California. They come in and they look at the whole reconstruction, and then they put their rules and regulations on the construction, as well as like for the furniture. And like some furniture you have to attach to the floor, which we've done in the past. But like Brian said, anytime we start hooking on to a wall, then we could be in violation of OSHPD if they haven't already got it in the noted.
Right, and that's where we'll have Kelly. You guys can kind of pre-negotiate that, but have Kelly step in a little bit, because like you said, if it can be removed from an office, basically it's furniture assembly. It's not construction. So sometimes I would just use the word furniture assembly, and we're just assembling it and putting it together. But you guys make valid points. If it's hooked to a wall or seismic, then that's a little more dicey. I'm going to move us forward here a little bit. Just this last PO that you're looking at on the screen shows a requisition number up here in the right. So obviously internally they've already done, the person who is your decision maker has to put a requisition to the purchasing person at their company or county or city or government. And then that person has to create a purchase order, and it usually does not take long. From the time they get the requisition in their hands until they do a purchase order, it usually takes a matter of 30 seconds. But they may have a stack of requisitions to go through. So you have to find out from the person you're working with, how long does it take you from the time you put a requisition in and you request a purchase order, what's the timeline? How long does it take to get that PO? And sometimes they don't know, but sometimes they do. This is one where you can see the requisition number when it was submitted, and then the purchase order number is down here, 2017-1573. That's their PO number. Something interesting about this one in Wilmington, North Carolina at New Hanover, it starts, you can see that they were using our quote, so it's line item quote. Every line item has an individual ship to, but at the bottom of this page, is this the one? Please tell me this is yes. Halfway through this PO, there's like 10 pages. It says additional description notes. It says this purchase order incorporate vendor's quote number. It says our quote and the date of our quote, and is under cooperative purchasing HGAC contract number. Now that's stuck in the middle of this, but if you go to the top of this and try to find the terms, the purchasing terms, you can't find terms anywhere. And the reason you can't find terms is because it's part of a contract, and the contract has its own terms. The GSA has its own terms, HGAC has its own terms, and that's why they stuck that in there. So I'm gonna hop off this unless you have some questions, but basically you have to talk to your person about, to get a purchase order, do you have to put a requisition in? Do you have to request one? Yes or no? And if you do that, how long does it take? And then are you the department, or who is the person I can reach out to get that purchase order back? They usually don't want you to do that, as Maria has learned. They usually don't like you to do that, but sometimes they'll let you, and you can talk to that person. Hey, just need to know a timeline. My bosses are wanting to get this order done so we can get this installed. How soon can we get that PO? And they'll usually, the purchasing people don't have a problem with this at all. It's just paperwork to them. They just have to process it correctly, and then we can get that. And then again, we invoice, and our invoice has to line up with the amount on the PO. Any questions about that?
Well, you know, a lot of times, Doug, when your end user sends in the requisition, like for example, I had one with Beaumont Hospital. So they sent in their requisition to purchasing. Then purchasing turned around to them and said, well, we've got a local company that we would like to do business with. So then they go back to the end user. The end user says, no, I really want Zybex. They said, well, then then Zybex is going to have to be vendor made approved, which is a company that qualifies you as meeting all HIPAA requirements. And then also they're going to have to be an approved vendor. And if you don't have a really good relationship with your end user so that they will be your champion, that purchasing person could end up screwing up the whole works right at the 11th hour.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think that that's near as common in the 911 or the federal side of things, but it is very much in the command and control, for-profit and hospital world. Yeah, so you really have to have the internal champion, or your end user being a champion for you and saying, I need your help working with purchasing to make sure that we can get it set up as a vendor. So, and that came from oil and gas, my background, very similar. Luckily, we don't have to deal with that, but it's good for us all to know that. Thank you, Mike. All right, this is training in a fun way. So turn up your speakers so you can listen to this. This is a fun video. It's only 2 minutes long, but sometimes I think we let customers treat us this way, and I think you're going to enjoy this little video quite a bit. So here you go.
Hi, is there a problem, sir? Yes. A question about final toll. Yes. You see, yeah, we didn't budget for this. Excuse me? This was marked 1999. Yeah. Well, I've only got $7 set aside for this. So what are we going to do today?
Well, I'd like to highlight, but for now, I can only pay for a trim.
Okay, so today we're only going to do trim.
No, the highlight, but I can only pay for the trim.
I mean, what did the taco say?
About $12.
Right. $12. Sir, we're not the taco stand. No, it was beef, same thing as I had. You had the filet. Okay, let me make a phone call, see what I can do. Maybe I can get you $8.50. Can you do $8.50?
I'll pay for the highlights next time, but for now, I need you to just go ahead and throw them in.
So basically, you want me to work for free?
No, I don't want you to work for free. It's just a test. That way I can see if my husband likes it, and then you can roll the cost over until the next time I need color if he likes it.
I went through it last, and some of the stuff that we're just removing. I'm not making any money on this side. You gotta help me out. We got a discount bin. I know, I've checked this discount bin, but I want this one. We can do this. This is not a challenge. This is an opportunity. We tried with 3 orders. Oh, yeah, you ordered 3 orders, right? I already ordered, but it's order we AP one. What's your name? You gotta work with me. That was 1999. Mike, come on, let's do this. Let's do this.
Well, I can cover your hard costs, but that's your part I would like to go.
I'll give you $8.50 today. I'll come back next Tuesday. We're gonna make it up on the next one. What do you say? What? Excellent. Well, I won't pay this time, but what we need to do is show us how you made it, so we can do it on our own in house. I know. It is great dinner.
Oh, that never happens to us. I hope you guys could hear that. Could you guys hear that okay? Could you guys hear the audio at all?
Not real well.
Not real well.
We'll send you a link.
It was super choppy.
It was funny. I'll send you a link.
I'll send you a link. Customers always say, hey, I'll do what I can. This is a test run. So don't let customers treat us like that. You guys, it's so easy to want to say yes and so easy to want to roll over to get the deal. I'm worried that we're starting to not sell very well and we're rolling over and just becoming order takers. And there's a difference between the two. Yes, I understand that you need to just get in and get an order sometimes, but I don't want you rolling over. If you sell well, you'll be able to sell the ergonomics. This is who we are. We're not a cheap knockoff company. We changed the industry going direct 20 years ago, and we're changing the industry and dragging people into more of an ergonomic side. And now we're changing on how we sell by having a direct sales team. So I don't want you to back down and get soft. I want you to be strong and say, look, this is what we are. This is the value. They'll find money. You just have to put the pressure on them to do that. So I'll send that link. It's a fun video. You're going to enjoy that. Turn that up and watch that again. You'll enjoy it very much. Well, that is, I believe that's today. Is there anything else? You know, I have some best practices. We're going to talk about organization, but I feel like we've kind of maxed our time. We've had a really good call today. Is there anything that somebody's got that is kind of for the whole group that you need to bring, or a question, or something that now that we have the team together, you need us to think about or address? Kenny, is there anything else you need to talk to the team about?
No.
All I can tell you is Barry comes back next week from a great vacation.
We think.
We think.
Never told me when he's coming back.
So he's coming back, and it is extremely important to the well-being and the health of Zybex that December gets full. So I can't say that enough. We cannot have less than $1 million less than 8 weeks out. That just damages the company. And the truth is, we talked about this in Winter Park. It's your responsibility. So please get that stuff done. That is critical to the task of our sales team. But if you can knock that out and get January going, you know a little bit more behind the scenes what they're needing for the requisitions and purchase orders, what to look for. Don't be afraid of money. Don't be afraid of asking for money. Don't be afraid of it, because it's part of just their work process. They're used to it. So get that in, and I know that will help us all a ton. So guys, I'm super proud of you. And if you have anything one-off, let's talk to me later today or next week. But if not, have a great weekend. Keep kicking ass and take those notes that you took from best practices and implement them. Hugs to you all. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Take care, everybody.
Have a great weekend, guys.
Bye.
Bye now.